one of the things that we talk to our stylists about is like try to pick up on like the subtle cues like of a client. Some clients just want to space out or watch the show or work on their laptop or just like not talk. And then some clients sometimes just want to be real chatty and talk. And it's our job to be like what they need. I mean, that's the thing about DryBar that I think is why it's worked. We created that experience. I feel like, obviously we didn't invent blowouts. They've been around forever. We just created this much better space and environment for you to go.
You're listening to the Almost 30 podcast, a lifestyle podcast hosted by Krista Williams and Lindsay Simsick.
Tune in for a new episode every Tuesday to hear our honest conversations about topics like wellness, entrepreneurship, spirituality, and self-development with guests who are really smart, really inspirational,
and really fucking funny. It's real, it's raw, and it's unfiltered.
Inspired by our transition from our 20s to our 30s, we realized it's so much more than that. Our mission is to provide you with the tools, guidance, and motivation to help you navigate any transitions in your life and propel your personal growth.
Thanks so much for tuning into the Almost 30 podcast.
Here we go. Are so tight. I'm sure yours feel the same. I do where you like separate your feet and then you like whack your hips to one side and the other. It's like,
it's the best. Mm-hmm. I got a massage last night at that place.
How was it?
And he's like, do you work construction? What every girl wants to hear when they're having their body rubbed with oil. They ask when touching your shoulders, do you work
That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
He was joking.
Oh.
I pray.
The last time I was at the Now, I had this guy.
It's like,
sorta. Yeah, actually. You're like, I was moving.
Yeah.
And he went so hard on my inner thigh and so kind of like very close to the goods. I was like,
I don't think that's right.
Like, I just didn't know. I was like, all right.
When I was in Vietnam, I was like harassed. I had to get up and leave.
Oh, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, it was the most fucked up thing ever. I didn't know if I went into a place where that was happening, but I had to leave. It was so inappropriate. It was so messed up.
Dude.
But then when I left and I was walking out, I looked down and I looked to my left and they sleep in these bunk beds in a closet. Honestly, it was like, I was like, oh, wow.
Oh my God.
It's fucking crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah. Hello, everybody.
Bing, bing.
Welcome.
Bing, bing. Bing, bing. Welcome.
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm a construction worker. What are you?
Just still living my first lifetime as a woman.
Yeah, literally. You got your first vaggie. You got your first vaggie vag.
Oh, man.
First vaggie. I'm wearing I don't know if these are.
I love this
cool
look on you. I really do.
Yeah, I love these shorts.
They're
actually.
so cute.
So I got these Fabletics shorts, and they're like bike shorts underneath, and they're shorts on the bottom, and they're fucking gonna be worn every day.
Yo, bike shorts are coming
comfortable.
back. Yeah,
they're so comfortable. I'm gonna wear them till they smell like pee.
That's what you usually do.
Secrets out.
We just wear things until
Gigs
they
up.
smell.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Until I get called out in public places about my smell. It's like becoming a problem. I think people are probably going to be talking about it behind my back. Like today, I smelled. We had our podcast we did with Jacqueline.
So cute.
So cute.
What's Your Jersey podcast? Yeah. She's awesome. She's a comedian here in LA. She brought us Celsius, which is so Jersey and amazing.
Because it's a canned energy drink.
It's a canned energy drink, and we drank it.
I was bomb. Is yours done?
Yeah. I'm feeling a little like,
I actually really like it. I looked at it. I was like, but it's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty
Healthy energy, accelerates metabolism, burns body fat.
Yeah, that's all you got to say to us.
Yeah, honestly.
Burns body fat.
Say burns body fat, and I'm in. I'm in. Welcome to the podcast. If you're new, I'm Krista Williams.
And I'm Lindsay Simsick.
We're so happy to have you here. Thank the friend that sent you this podcast or the person that told you about this. It means so much that you're with us.
Yeah.
We're all learning together.
Yeah, we're on this transitional period together. It doesn't have to be necessarily 20s to your 30s. I'm sure you guys know that we're always kind of almost something or going through some kind of transition, whether it's, relationships, career, spirituality, health and wellness. So we just hope that we can, comfort you in that you're not alone, just and inspire you and laugh.
Spicy. Spicy and light.
But yeah, we were just talking to Jacqueline. She's one of our listeners, which is she's so sweet and she's so funny and has like the best spray tan in LA.
Yeah, she has such a good spray tan.
Love her.
We're talking about her working at the Comedy Store. What else were we talking about? Oh, what, like high school, where we're from? I'm trying to think of what else.
What did we talk about that? There was so much. We were just like riffing. We were
which is fun. That's what I like to do.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best. So we've been on tour and we want to see you. If you have not gone to our website, almost30podcast.com/tour, just check it out. If you have friends in that area, we want to meet you. This is not some weird, like, what do I want to say?
I know what you want to say, but I don't know.
There's not like
there's no
a
rope
line to meet us. There's no rope.
Yeah.
There's no like hot guys serving cocktails. This is like
it's no thunder from down under.
Hang.
Yeah.
We're just hanging.
There's no hype, man or woman. There could be.
Yeah. If we give Chloe enough like kombucha, she gets up there.
Yeah, she should be our intro. And you'll get tons of goodies from amazing sponsors like Home Nutrition, who's been our marquee sponsor on our tour. Want to thank them for all the support that they provided. But yeah, tour's been fucking amazing and fun and crazy. And then Lindsay and I now are putting out 8 episodes a month. So we used to do 4, then we do 6. Now we do 8, which is a shitload. That's like, it's a lot.
It's a lot, but it feels good.
Yeah.
You know, we do have that much content. So it's just kind of forcing us to, you know.
And build out.
And get more help, which is nice.
Yeah,
Can't say it enough. If you're building a business, get help.
Yep.
Number one,
get help. What are you doing?
You're going to make more money. I don't know what else to say.
Dude.
You're going to make more money if you have help.
Yeah.
And also, this is actually, so at our female founders event a couple weeks ago, Rachel Geik talked about, self-care as an entrepreneur. And it's really important, if you're running, and listen, I know there's some parts of this entrepreneurial journey where you feel like, oh my God, I have no more to give. But there has to be some sort of balance because I assume that you want this to last, that you are in it for the long game. And if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't outsource and ask for help and have people who do some of these things better than you do them, I mean, there's going to be a life there's going to be like an end date to your
because you can only do so much and you're going to evolve and you're going to want to change. So, Lindsay and I have taken on help, I know that there's people out there that can do what we do better. So we've always wanted to do that.
Biz Tips with Carissa and Lindsay. Biz Tip, take help.
I'm back on Hinge.
No. Cool.
Whatever.
I meant no, like, wow. Like, that's cool.
It's whatever.
You need to be on it.
I go through waves.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh, like, also Hinge is doing this like thing now where it's like different.
What is it?
So there are these like funny, thoughtful, weird questions that you answer.
Into it.
3 of them. And that's kind of how you say yes or no. Like there are pictures obviously and whatever, but it gives the person a little bit more of a personality.
Love that. I'm obsessed with that.
You know what I mean? It's not just like, oh, give us her bio. It's like these funny questions.
Because no one knows what to do with a bio.
Yeah.
How could I describe myself in four sentences? I'm different every fucking hour.
Yeah. I mean, literally, I'll probably be off in 2 weeks, but I go through waves. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Have you connected with anyone? Hinge is close by?
Hinge is friends on Facebook, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I've connected with a few people. No dates set up yet. That's the thing about dating apps. Very rarely do people
follow through,
cut the convo and are just like, I'd love to set something up.
Yeah.
You kind of like dawdle. And like I can easily just say like,
I don't want a pen pal.
No, be the one. I can be the one that like sets up like, hey, I'd love to hang out. But I also like someone.
I know. You've been a man too long.
Been a man too long.
It's time to be a woman. Let them come to you. But it's true. I mean, everyone wants that. Like, just cut the bullshit.
Yeah.
Just cut the shit.
Cut the shit.
There's too much shit in life. Cut the shit.
But it does remind me being on Hinge, man. wow, there's just a lot of like
Riffraff.
like not a lot actually. Hinge, I think, is like kind of better than I thought. There's a lot of riffraff on other apps that I've been on in the past, but I'm just like fascinated by like the photos, especially that people take. I'm like, okay, so what? I have some like I don't care how hot you are. I don't care how whatever you are.
No shirt.
Yeah, I don't like it. It depends on the context. If you're flexing and like it is blatantly to show off your body, not into it. But if you're like with your dudes and you're like on a surf trip and you're like chilling,
like jumping into the lake,
yeah, whatever. I'm like, okay. But like if you're like kind of posed a little bit and flexing, I mean, there's nothing I hate more.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else.
Selfies are always weird.
Yeah, as a guy, it's kind of
weird.
It's a double standard.
It's always weird.
It's a double standard for sure.
That's fine. It is a double. It is.
It is a double standard. I agree. God, I just can't even imagine.
Well, I'll take you through some.
Yeah, I would love to actually go through some.
A lot of them like to like pose with animals because whatever, they think it's...
Yeah, dude, a lot of my guy friends always would put on their profile picture like them with like a baby. I'm like,
babies or dogs or...
Trying to get that pussy.
Yeah, trying to get in.
Trying to get that pussy with a little baby.
Or, number one...
With their sisters?
Them on a private jet.
Oh, no.
Because like it was probably just a one-time thing. Some like crazy weird whatever.
It's like Jet Sweet X.
But like they put it on their profile picture. Their profile.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Yeah, literally. Only happens once. I mean, that's like very...
Even if it happens every week, I don't... What?
Yeah.
But some girls care, so I guess...
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, all right. Let us know if you're on dating apps.
Yeah, let us know if you see Lindsay on a dating app.
Yeah.
If you're a gal looking for another gal and you see
oh my
LT.
God. We got to let it rest.
She's done. I agree.
She's a lady in this
I'm
lifetime.
I'm a construction worker and you're a lady in this lifetime.
All right, so today on the podcast, we had like the coolest convo with Miss Alli Webb of
Damn, yeah, it was so fun. That was so cool to hang out with her.
She's the coolest.
She came in smelling like DryBar.
Krista called it out.
Would anyone expect
and I was like,
anything else?
What else would she smell?
I just was like, whoa, she's living, breathing, smelling the brand. Honestly, I was like, oh, hey, girl, so fashionable, wearing this cute jumpsuit that was like comfy, young, and hip, and her hair looked amazing.
She's really, really cool.
Yeah, she's fun and cool.
I'm always, in LA, I think like, some people have heirs, some people don't.
Yeah.
This woman has built a serious empire.
Yeah, man.
Had no problem taking time out of her day to come to our little studio to hang.
Yep.
It's just, hi.
Yeah.
You're a human being. Thank you so much.
If I were her, I would have had my like bodyguard take me to and from. Literally. I'd be like, oh, I came in like riding a magic carpet and my bodyguard's with me.
Yeah.
I'm so rich.
So rich.
But she's
so down to earth.
So down to earth. So Lindsay and I had so much fun talking to Alli. We talked about her journey to creating DryBar, what's hard about being an entrepreneur. We talked about the tough times of building the business in the first couple years. We talked a lot about balancing motherhood and entrepreneurship. So what she does to feel good about how she's showing up as a mom and building the business. We talked about
her relationship with her husband and her brother. They're all in business together, which is mostly amazing, but can be challenging at times, and how she's kind of navigated that relationship and balanced that. I mean, we're just in awe of what she's built. They have over 105 locations.
Yeah, man. They fucking went for it.
And, providing a space for women to come on a regular basis because it's affordable. They feel good. They're confident. It's kind of amazing. I know it sounds silly, but like what a blowout will do for a gal, and she's really, captured that lightning in a bottle with that concept. So we're really grateful for her for coming. She's an expander for us, and we know she will be for you too. So enjoy this episode. If you love the episode, share it with your friends. That's truly how we have grown. Subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. That is our favorite thing in the world to read. Do we have one?
Yeah. Let me find a good one. Thanks for the reviews, everyone. Ellie Dag. I think this is probably Danielle.
Oh.
Favorite podcast, 5 stars. Thank you for the movement you have started. I resonate so deeply with the things you talk about and the expertise and stories that your guests have. Listening to the Almost 30 podcast is like hanging out with my coolest, most loving, and most relatable friends. It's true, honey. We are your friends.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks so much. Excited for you guys to hear this episode. Join the secret Facebook group to give your feedback, and we will see you on the flip. Bye.
This episode is brought to you by Chosen Foods.
Just had some Chosen Foods mayo. I went and got some vegan sushi, or like just brown rice sushi and avocado and vegetables. And it's just kind of bland. So I had to spice it up.
So good. Did you use the wasabi mayo?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's so bomb. You just put like a little bit of wasabi mayo. And because it's the full fat, like you're getting healthy fats made with avocado oil, which is one of Chosen Foods staples, it fills you up for hours.
Fills you up.
It's so clean.
And I didn't know this. I was talking about this last time we talked about Chosen Foods, but like avocado oil is the safest to use because most oils, which I grew up using, like olive oil, all that stuff, their smoke point is only 350. So avocado oils is 500.
Wow.
So you can use that to cook and not worry about basically toxins being burned off in your oil.
Wow. I didn't even think about that. I've been using their avocado oil for a long time, but I didn't really understand like the full benefits of it. But really it is that it's the one ingredient. It's the sprays have no emulsifiers or anything like that. And including or incorporating more avocado of any type into my diet has been like really great for my hormone health, really great for my skin, and just really keeps you full. So huge fans of Chosen Foods. They offer a variety of healthy fats, plant-based proteins, and ancient superfoods. We really love them, and we really love that they're bringing people back in the kitchen with their all-natural, real food ingredients that sustain and nourish our bodies. Me and Lindsay are down with that.
Down with that. And it's vegan mayo. I mean,
honey.
I thought the day would never come, to be honest. So there's no dairy eggs, no glyphosate, can't say it, residue, GMOs, or canola oil in it. So it's all plant powered, which you know we love. So you can go to chosenfoods.com/almost30 and you use our code almost30 at checkout for 50% off, 50% off your order of $10 or more. So that's chosenfoods.com/almost30. Use our code to get 50% off, $10 or more. This episode is also brought to you by Four Sigmatic. Okay, stop what you're doing. Please go to the Four Sigmatic Instagram and you can meet Maury. Maury is the mushroom mobile. Okay? It created a mushroom mobile because they're the coolest brand ever. And he's traveling up and down the West Coast with free shroom drinks and adventures for all you fun guys and gals. Anyway, I just love it so much. We love Four Sigmatic. As you know, we've been bringing them on tour. Everyone's been freaking out. Four Sigmatic makes drinking mushrooms, drinking them delicious and easy to do with their wide variety of superfood and super good for you beverages. So there's mushroom coffees, matchas, hot cacao, multi-mushroom blends. They're all so delicious. I am loving the golden latte right now. So it has coconut milk powder. So it's really, really creamy and delicious. And I have been using the mushroom coffees. I've been blending it with hot water, a little bit of MCT oil, cinnamon, and what else? And I have a little coconut milk powder as well that I'm putting in there just to make it creamy. But I have so much fun being like a little mushroom chemist. So try out a bunch, see what works for you. This has helped me to just kind of create routine, I guess, in my everyday, whether it's a beverage for my mornings when I am, pulling a tarot card and meditating and doing all my woo-woo stuff, or right before bed when I'm like reading and I have my hot cacao with reishi. I know it sounds a little kooky, but for some reason the routine just brings me like peace and groundedness. So anyway, don't knock it till you try it. So foursigmatic.com/almost30, and you can use our code almost30 for 15% off of your first order. So that's foursigmatic.com/almost30. It'll actually bring you to a landing page where it has some of our favorites, and you can use our code almost30 for 15% off.
And she's got an emerald band. I have an emerald band too. And my little
It's like
emeralds,
baguettes or
they're like baguettes.
Yeah.
And mine are probably like half a carat. So it's like a pretty
hefty.
crazy ring.
Mm-hmm.
But hers are like 3. I mean, it's so big.
It was like there's a picture in Vogue of the baguettes or whatever ring, but there wasn't like the actual rock. That's the thing is like I feel uncomfortable. I'm gonna feel uncomfortable even with mine right now.
I mean, I don't know how she goes anywhere. I'm sure she doesn't wear. But I've seen her. At
but then
events
it's like, do you get a fake one?
You know,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought about that.
Yeah.
I'm like, sometimes I
think
would
a
like
lot
a
of
fake
people
one.
do that. Like you would never know the difference between like a cubic
I
and
know.
zirconia. I mean, you would know, which
Yeah.
is the problem, but other people wouldn't know.
That's what's so weird about it because I honestly thought about that. I'm like, what if I just got like a fake?
I have friends, won't mention who they are, who have like cubic zirconia rings. You would never know.
See, you would never know. I would never know a person that would know.
Why does it?
And you
I
would
know,
never
then why does it
ask.
matter that we want the
It's because
real?
you would know and you'd be like ashamed. Isn't that weird?
That's so weird.
And nobody would know except for like
No
you
one
and your
would know.
husband.
Mhm.
I had a girlfriend one time that they were engaged and they actually like are not engaged anymore, but she accidentally like lost her ring and was
Is
like,
that why they're not engaged anymore?
Really?
almost. So was freaking out. And it was like it was like a David Yurman wedding ring. She was like, well, I lost it, like freaking out. And she's like, we have to call David Yurman and tell them because it's insured with them, right? He was like freaked out. He was so mad at her. And it comes to find that it was a fake like David Yurman ring.
Oh, no wonder he was
Yes.
mad.
So that's why he was so mad.
It's like, oh,
Because it was
shit.
fake, literally.
How
He got called
funny.
out. I know. I was like, isn't that interesting?
Oh.
And then now they're not engaged anymore.
And she was like, I don't know about this
Yeah,
guy.
because he's like a liar. Which is like a bummer though. You want to just get your girlfriend like the best ring.
Yeah.
But I mean, ring talk.
I know. I'm just
One of
sitting
my
on the
favorite
Ring is
side
fucking
subjects.
badass and you're badass.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thanks for
honestly, it's
being
like,
here.
it's sick. I love it. Yeah, thanks for being here. We're pumped. We
Yeah,
are
we're so
DryBar
excited.
lovers.
Thank you for
We've
having
gone
me.
in like
For a
so
long
many of our
time.
cities. I've been saying all week, I'm like, I just want someone to wash my hair.
Yeah.
No, it's so
Literally.
much better when somebody else
It's
does
just
it.
the best.
It's so much. And I love too, like the vibe and environment that like with a stylist, I can talk to them or not talk to them and it's
Right.
cool.
Right.
Mhm.
I like really, really appreciate
It's actually like
that.
one of the things that we talk to our stylists about. It's like try to pick up on like the subtle
the energy. Yeah.
cues like of a client. Some clients just want to space out or watch the show or work on their laptop or just like not talk. And then some clients sometimes just want to be real chatty and talk. And it's our job to be like figuring that out and kind of be what they need. It is harder to talk because of all the blow dryers and the music going. That does prevent a challenge. And then you're like this and
Yeah.
your stylist is like, but we worked really hard to create that environment. So I'm happy you feel that way.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah,
I feel like they're
it's
really
part of.
good
I mean,
at
that's the thing about DryBar that I think is why it's worked. We created that experience. I mean, I always tell people. I feel like obviously we didn't invent blowouts; they've been around forever. We just created this much better space and environment for you to go, which is why women could go to like Fantastic Sam's and you can figure out places to go to get a blowout, but you don't get all the other stuff. The branding and the customer service, the way it feels, the way, the experience of the stylist. I mean, there's a million little things, but it all does boil down to the experience.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, you have the experience down.
Yeah.
And we try.
Honestly, you do.
Yeah, I'm so
Thank you.
grateful because I teach SoulCycle part-time and I don't brush my hair. So the fact that you guys are always kind of close
Yeah.
and like,
We're near, we
Yes.
always are near Soul Cycles.
Well,
That's so cool. You teach Soul Cycle.
Yeah.
yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
I feel
just
like you have to have a certain personality to be able to teach a class like that because you have to really
it's a lot.
dig deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Right?
do every day.
Yeah.
Can you
'Cause
imagine
I feel
digging
like
deep that much?
that's real deep.
I know. It's
Every
too
day.
deep.
Do you do it every day?
So I just went part-time. So it's not quite every day now, but when I was teaching full-time, it was 6 days a week, multiple times a
God.
day. Yeah.
I feel like
It's a lot, but-
that's the greatest thing about Soul Cycle. I feel like better than the workout is the instructors who pump you up and make you like think about like your life and like you're
Mhm.
you're
Like
crying
crying.
half the
Totally.
class.
You're like, why am I crying?
It's such a
Yeah.
spiritual thing.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Well done.
I'm lucky.
Can you
but
imagine digging deep at 6 a.m.?
No.
I did this morning, but didn't. I was like, oh man, this
I
is.
know.
I don't like doing anything at 6 a.m.
Same.
Oh, I'm so not a morning
Yeah,
person.
what's your like routine?
So it just kind of depends on the day.
Yeah.
It's like every day is different for me now. I mean, I was like
cool.
so happy today. I didn't have to do really much. And because I've been on like this crazy like schedule for the last for the last 8 years. And every now and again I get a day where it's like there's not a lot going on. And today this is like my big outing for the
I know.
day.
Thank you so
Got
much.
you nice and fresh.
Truly.
Yeah.
Appreciate
I actually
it.
spent some time in my office, and that was I saw the girls and brought them goodies and whatever.
Aw.
But which I don't actually get to do a lot because I'm always traveling. I'm always at events. I'm always at stuff. And now we're recording our podcast. So it's just my schedule is so crazy and full all the time that it's exhausting. I mean, in a good way, and I'm so grateful. But it's like having a morning off when I also have the house to myself because, as you know, my kids are away at summer camp. So it's nice. So yeah, it just depends on the day. I mean, I'm just gearing up to do a bunch more traveling coming up, but enjoying summer at home, kind of relaxed.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Can you, so our listeners know who you are and are big fans. They've told us we have a secret Facebook group that was buzzing
really?
about you coming on.
Oh, that's so
Yeah,
nice.
they love you.
But we always just like to kind of track the trajectory and like connect the dots. I know this hasn't always been this enormous empire and
Hasn't always
it
been 9 carats.
Yeah. Started as a seedling, so we'd love to go back.
To how it all started.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, really, it's like always been a thing for me to get blowouts. I grew up in South Florida. I have naturally curly hair. As you know, South Florida is like frizzy, humid weather.
It's impossible.
Didn't help my hair problems. And it was just always that thing that I was kind of mystified about. Like, how do people get like soft, bouncy, smooth hair? How does it work? And I tried to figure it out on my own for a long time. And then, after kind of bouncing around after high school and different careers, I decided to finally go to beauty school, which I felt like was like where I was meant to be, and spent, the last 20 years or so in the beauty industry doing hair at salons and all sorts of things. And then I got married, had 2 kids, and was a stay-at-home mom, which was like, thought that was going to be it. Like that's kind of all I thought I like really wanted to do. And then after 5 years of being a stay-at-home mom, I got a little antsy and was like, gosh, I got to get out of the house and do something for myself. And so I started my mobile blow dry business, which is called Straight at Home. And I was just running around LA blow drying like all my mommy friends. And I realized during that time, because I was only charging $35 a blowout, which is very cheap to go to someone's house by any standards.
Yeah, especially in LA.
But for me, it was like, I didn't really care so much about the money. It was more about like getting away from my kids for a couple hours.
Yeah, literally.
And
It's
having
like freedom.
and having a break. Yeah. So I started doing this just to like, I had only been in LA a couple of years at that point. So I didn't even know that many people. So it was a great way to like get out of the house, meet other women who also had kids who were in the same space as I was. And I was like, I'll just come over when your baby's napping and give you a blowout. And so I got really busy really fast. And when I couldn't go to my clients' homes, which would happen a lot, I would say like, well, what do you do? And the answer was always like, well, I either go to like the discount chain down the street or I go to a full service salon where, I'm overpaying for the blowout and they want to cut my hair and color my hair and it smells like a perm and blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, that's kind of when the idea started, coming to mind. And I was like, well, I always dreamt of a place like DryBar. I didn't think it through all that well back then. But, the more I started talking to my clients, the more I realized, man, there really is nothing. There's this huge hole in the marketplace. Like, why doesn't anybody do just blowouts? And, I think that like, it's been interesting over the years as we've grown, how women have said, oh, I had this idea and whatever. And I'm like, listen, it's a really hard business to execute. While it may not look that way, it is incredibly hard. I have a lot of years experience, not only doing blowouts, but working in salons and understanding how salons environments work, how stylists feel and think and all of that. So anyways, I went to my brother and my husband who, are my business partners and are both bald, which I'm sure you've heard me say that before, the irony. And I said, I think I should turn Straight at Home into, a brick and mortar, which another side note that a lot of people don't know is that we actually at that point bought the URL for DryBar because it was meant to be a spinoff of my business Straight at Home.
That real quick, realized real quick.
Yeah. And then we were like, I don't think we should call it DryBar. That doesn't feel right, So anyways, we ended up coming up with DryBar. But, it was really just because it was like, wow, no one's doing this. And I think at the time, stylists who worked in full service salons, like they didn't want to do like the $50 or $80 or $100 blowout. They wanted to do the $300 haircut, so it wasn't like, it was kind of annoying. I think it still is. Like stylists, they don't, the blowouts, as you guys know, always go to like an assistant or whatever. And that's like what I did when I was an assistant. And so it's very hit or miss what you're getting. And so that's where I thought like, surely there's an opportunity here to just hone in on this one service. So I convinced my brother to give me the money to open the first store. Cameron, my husband, is a creative director. He was working at an advertising agency at the time, and that was his career. So he started like working on the website. My brother was like putting all the spreadsheets together because he's like the business side of things. And I was figuring out how we were going to get this shop off the ground, if I could get enough stylists who would also like doing blowouts, which was also a very big question mark for me. I was like, are there even stylists out there that would only want to do blowouts? Because to work in any kind of hair salon, you need to have a full cosmetology license. So would stylists be even willing to do this? It's very labor intensive, whatever. But lo and behold, there was. And I started interviewing people like in my living room, and their interview process was blowing out my hair to see if like they were any good and if they were nice people, So that was like how the whole thing started. And, it was probably about, 8 months to a year of planning before we opened DryBar, which was in 2010, in the middle of a recession, mind you. So it was also like, felt very risky. And our first location was in Brentwood Gardens. And I can't tell you how many people came up to me and they're like, every business that's been in here has failed in our particular spot. And I was like, thanks for that.
Oh my gosh.
And because it was 2010, like people were really cutting back. Like there was like, I remember taking my brother to Brentwood Gardens for the first time, and there was like nobody there. And he was like, he wasn't super familiar with the area. I had a good friend who lived around the corner. So I knew that there was like, it was like a lot of daily use. And obviously now it's gotten so much more, built out. But at the time, there was just nobody even around. And we were scared shitless that like nobody was going to come.
Yeah.
But, and what was funny is after we did open and we were so busy, like, we had all the tenants coming over to us and being like, you revived the center. Women are here now, which is really amazing, And so
Love that.
I think what happened was women were cutting back on cut and color, and they would go a little longer in between haircuts and go a little longer each color because having a great blowout made you feel really good. And so, that's how the whole thing started. And that was over 8 years ago. And, as soon as we opened that first store, we were like, we definitely are on to something. And this has struck a chord with women and we need to keep going. And so that was it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How much money did you guys need to start? Like how much money would like a new business owner need to start like that?
Well, it's different. It's hard to say as a general term because for us and DryBar, it's like there's so much electric.
Yeah.
Because we have to have so much more electric than a normal business because we have, in Brentwood, for example, there's 8, stations which need to have a blow dryer and curling irons and all this electricity. So most like a clothing store would never need the amount of electricity we need. Also, we need like 10 times as much AC as a normal business needs because we're blowing hot air into the space.
Wow.
So, even if we had which is honestly, we like, I think it was like maybe like 5 or 6 years before we actually even figured out exactly what we needed because it gets so hot. Like our shops in the valley, those babies are hard to keep because it gets so hot there. It's so there's and then not to mention there's a lot of build out for us. So, DryBar set up like a bar and there's all the millwork behind the bar. So that all of that stuff is very expensive too. So, it's funny because when you compare it to like, I don't know if you guys know Sarah Gibson Tuttle. She's a good friend of mine. She owns Olive and June.
Of course.
I know I won't say it, but I know what her build out costs. And it's like significantly less than ours because, she has to bring in chairs, but they do, they bring you a little bowl for your pedicure. So they don't have to have the water like we do. They don't have the electricity. It's just a much smaller whole setup than ours is so expensive.
Wow.
I mean, so, to answer your question, when we first opened, my brother basically put in $250,000, and we put in like 50, which is our life savings at the time. And that was not even enough. I mean, we had to we at the like kind of the last hour, we had to get more money to finish the store. And now, with inflation and everything, the stores are well over that to build. So, I mean, the good news is the stores pretty much recoup that within a year. So it's a good business model, but so it really depends. I mean, if, on the flip side, if you're opening a clothing store, my parents had their own clothing stores growing up, and entrepreneurial DNA that I have. I mean, that's also a really expensive acquisition too, because you have to buy all this inventory. And so you get, you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on inventory to open up a store. So, the costs are different for everyone. But for us to do what we've done and to build out the stores the way we do, it's pretty expensive, which is why, we always need to do, we do on average about 100 blowouts a day, give or take, per store. And we have 105 stores now. So it's a lot of blowouts, a lot of hot air. And so, that's what we need to do to make the business work. In the early days, we thought it was going to be like 30 or 40 blowouts a day, which of course would be terrible now because we totally underestimated, what this business was going to be. So.
And your brother bought into it. Your brother and husband bought into it immediately. They were like,
well, my brother was like, took a minute because he was like, and one of the first things he asked me is like, why wouldn't you do cut and color too? Like, why not just make this a regular salon? And I was like, well, personally, I'm just not very interested in that part of it. Like, I always loved the blowout. Even when I was cutting hair, I couldn't wait to get through the haircut to blow out the hair because that's when you really that's when the client got excited. That's when you saw it like come to life. And so, and for
that's
me,
when you stop looking like ass.
Yeah.
Literally in the salon chair, I'm like, oh my God. With your hair wet, slick, no makeup.
Totally. And that was actually like part of the reasoning for building DryBar the way we did. So you weren't staring at a mirror. I always felt like, why does anybody want to stare at themselves with like wet hair? Yeah, and just the whole, and I get it, obviously, when you're doing a haircut, you need the mirror actually more for like measuring and things like that. But like, why subject a woman to like staring at herself for 45 minutes? It's like you can't help but like pick yourself apart. Like, I look tired, like all these things 100%. That we do as women. So that's why I was like, I don't want women sitting at a station, a typical hairstyling station. I want them to be sitting at a bar. They can get glimpses of themselves. But then when you're done, as you know, you turn around for the big reveal, which also actually came from my mobile business. That it was like, I was doing women's blowouts like in their kitchen. And so when I was done, they would find a mirror like in their bathroom, and I'd hear this big like, oh my God, because they had gone from like seeing themselves with just like wet brushed hair to like done amazing hair. So we tried to recreate that in DryBar as what we now call the big reveal. So, but yeah, so my brother was a little skeptical of the idea at first, and mainly because it was like, how are we going to get this many women in the door?
Yeah.
Will that work? Will they come? And my husband was more bullish about it because he knows what my hair looks like when it dries naturally. And he's like, I know.
He's like, she needs help.
Yeah. He's like, I know you get your nails done every week, but when you come home with a blowout, it's like the first thing I notice, And it's true. There's we hear it from women all the time. I'm sure you guys feel that way too. When you get your hair done, like people notice, and sometimes they don't even know what they notice. They're just like, something is different. Like, you look really good. And you're like, it was like a lot of times women come in during their lunch break and they go back to work and everybody at the office is like, what changed? So it is, and that's what we've learned running this over the last, 8 years. It's like we give women this amazing confidence, where they feel so great about themselves. And that's like not something I totally realized when we were starting this. I was like, this is a service that women want and need. That was all I was really thinking. The fact that it turned into this, like, it sounds so lofty, but like changing, the way women feel about themselves, and like women who are like, I won't go to a board meeting without a blowout or an important date or lunch, or if I just want to feel better about myself, I've had a shitty day, So it's like, it's really like, if someone once did an article on us called The Psychology of a Blowout. And, it really is like, like lifts your mood and makes you feel better about yourself. And even when I say it, I feel like it sounds kind of silly, but it's pretty amazing when you sit in DryBar and you watch the way a woman comes in the shop, very serious and like all business and a little bit cranky. And then when she walks out, she's like looking at every mirror and she's like, she's just like, there's this happiness, So it's pretty amazing. And that's, I didn't see that. I didn't even realize how impactful and how much women were going to love this. I just thought, I could open one little shop in Brentwood and that would be like my livelihood,
I think too, like to be kind of that gateway to making time for yourself, because it's only an hour.
Yeah. Right.
And it's affordable.
Right.
And so for women to be able to do that, it almost like is the inciting appointment that's like, oh, okay, so it was only an hour, but I feel 100 times better. I took time for myself. I read a magazine. I like turned off my brain.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of incites other like self-care. I just think it's important, that it's accessible to a lot of people. I think that's so.
Well, I think that's the thing too, is we feel like we kind of gave women like permission to do this, because I think at some point, obviously, the behavior of getting a blowout was something like our grandmothers did, right? Or our grandmothers did. They went to like the beauty parlor and they got the big hair, the bouffant, they didn't touch it for a week. Like you remember hearing stories about that. And like somewhere along the line, that behavior went away. And so I feel like we brought that back and kind of modernized it, obviously. But I mean, we have clients who go like 2, 3, 4, like a week without, days or a week without getting a blowout, washing their hair, because they feel so good about it, dry shampoo, and they're done. So that behavior of our grandmother's generation, it went away. But it's like, then it was only celebrities and like, if you were like on a red carpet, then you had this like amazing va-va-voom hair and you had a celebrity stylist doing it and all of that. And it's like, why can't women everywhere experience that? And that was the thing too. I mean, it was interesting when we started the business because there was women like me who have curly, frizzy, like unruly hair that were taking part in DryBar, and we're like, oh gosh, thank God there's DryBar. But then there was some women who had like straight hair and some women who were like, what's a blowout? And once they went in for like a special occasion, like a wedding or bar mitzvah or something, and they got a blowout, they were like, wow, for $45, I can do this on a Tuesday and feel really great about myself. It doesn't have to be just for a special event. So it was definitely like that permission to go and take care of yourself and do something that makes you feel really good in that hour to yourself. So all of those things, weren't, again, things that we were strategizing or anything about in the early days of starting the business. Just definitely things that we realized after we started that like, wow, this is like pretty amazing what we're doing here.
And then the first year, like, what was that like? Was it just like,
oh my gosh. I mean, the first, I would say like 4 to 5 years were just insanity. I mean, we were opening stores so incredibly fast. I mean, the first like 6 months, I worked 7 days a week. I wouldn't leave the store. I like wasn't comfortable. I mean, it was also like so much adrenaline, and it was like
totally,
we were busy all the time. And I just was like, and I didn't hire a manager in the beginning because again, I thought this was going to be much smaller than it turned out to be. And I used to like sit at the first station and do blowouts, and then like so I could watch the front desk and make sure whoever was at the front desk was treating people.
Still doing blowouts.
Oh yeah, because we didn't hire enough stylists when we first opened either, because we were like, we didn't know how many people were going to be coming in. So I was very quickly trying to bring in more stylists, but I was like supplementing, and I'm pretty fast. So I was like, I can get people in and out of here pretty fast. So I would sit at the first station so I could manage the front desk and make sure that those, people checking in and out were happy and like everybody's happy. So I could like basically manage the shop from doing blowouts. And that was really fun. I mean, that was like a fun time. So I was in that shop around the clock. And then, then 6 months later, we opened our second store in Studio City. And then within 6 months, we had opened, I think, our third and fourth in like West Hollywood. And
just because the first was doing so well?
Well, because it was so busy that we had like, my brother at the time he was running a real estate marketing company, and Cameron was still a creative director and advertising agency. So it was really just me.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law, Sarah, was also helping me, but I was like running the show. And I, within a couple months, I brought in like a store manager so I could have somebody else like helping me, but I was still there every day. And then by the time we opened the second store, then I was like splitting my time. And then by the time we opened like 3 and 4 stores, I could still kind of split my time between all the stores, but it was hectic. And yeah, I mean, women from like Beverly Hills would walk in and then the Brentwood women would be like, get these ladies out of here, give them their own store. I mean, it was like, it was very busy, and it was like, we were like the cool club you couldn't get into, but that's not what you don't want that for your business, you know? So we were like, and my brother was I was like, you have to stop the business you're doing and come do this with me full time, because I think we've kind of captured lightning in a bottle here, and we have to like really do this.
Feeling.
And he was down?
He was down because, obviously he was like very invested from the very beginning. And I think he didn't rightfully so, him and Cameron didn't quit their day jobs because I wasn't really taking much money as a salary, because we were all just kind of like holding our breath to see if this was even going to work. So they still had their jobs so we could all still eat. And so, but and really within those first like couple of weeks, I was like, Mike, you have to come and do this with me full time. And he was like, yeah, I think I do.
Wow.
And so I was like, can you find a second store? And that's always, he's still like, is our head of real estate. And that's what he started doing, and just figuring out those leases, because I didn't have time to do anything else. I mean, and I had 2 little kids at home. So it was pretty intense there for a while, but the intensity didn't, I mean, it really hasn't slowed down, but in the within 4 years in, we brought in a professional CEO, which used to be my brother. And then we brought in all these other people. So to help do a lot of the things that I was doing,
Sure.
I was, now had help, which now we have tons of help. So it was crazy in the beginning.
I'm fascinated by like your relationship too with your husband. Like, like what did it, first you already had 2 kids, right? When you opened?
Yeah, they were 3 and 5.
So,
Damn.
yeah.
Well, my mom also like lived close by. So that was like the saving
Dude, that's
grace.
the money.
She was like she was like their second mom. So she was with them all the time. So that really helped, because
So key.
it was like my life changed pretty instantly. And I was like not only working all the time, but then there was, and this was a great thing, but we had all this press and that. So I was like all of a sudden I was like the spokesperson for the brand, because it was my idea, it was my baby. And so then that like kind of spiraled into a whole thing all the time, where I was always doing press and interviews and all of that. And that was kind of a big like, oh, this is interesting and fun. Like, okay, so it's just all this newness that was happening.
Yeah,
and
like it's fun to think about like your relationship with your husband, how it's like changed over the years, like from first meeting, having kids, and now it's like this rebirth. I don't know how it feels like to you, but how have you managed kind of like that personal relationship,
Well, it's been interesting, because when we first met, I was like, I think we got married when I was 27. And and even though I had already gone to beauty school and I'd done a lot of things and I'd worked in a lot of great salons, we met when we were both living in New York City. And, after like going through like a major party phase, we all of a sudden, all we did was go to dinner and a movie, and we lived in a teeny tiny apartment in New York City. And I was like, I don't think I can do another winter here, for starters. And,
100%.
and I was like, we live in this city and we have really no money, and it's just hard. And we've kind of had surpassed that like rite of passage, which I think everybody should live in New York City, but we were just a little over it. So I was like, I think I want to move to California. So, for him, he'd worked in major advertising agency in New York, and then we moved to San Francisco for a very short-lived, not great year, which is a whole other story. But then we were in LA, and I was like, all I could think about was having kids, and I just wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. He had a great job. He was in advertising. It was like felt pretty perfect. Like he was making decent money being in advertising, and I was able to be a stay-at-home mom. So, that was an interesting time, because I was at home with my kids all the time, and I, started to make a lot of friends through that world. But I can remember when Cameron would come home from work and I'd be like, like talking his fucking ear off, because I was like with babies all day. And that's when I think that's like was the beginning of me starting to feel like, oh my God, like I need to do something that like challenges me, and I need to do something for myself again. So it was an interesting transition, going from being like a stay-at-home mom and him being the breadwinner and like that whole life, to starting this business that was my idea that exploded on us. And me being the one who was now traveling and like working so much and being like the face of this brand. And it was definitely like a shift, which like took a second of adjustment for us. And then it like, over the last 8 years, I've had to travel so much. So like we have a fight occasionally about like, you're never home, and I'm always with the kids and all of that. So it's definitely been a lot of, ups and downs. And we're kind of in the middle of another transition, because Cameron, which we haven't even really like made this like official to the world,
Exclusive.
but yeah,
exclusive.
Yeah, it is. So Cameron has always done all the creative work and branding for DryBar,
Wow.
Which is
he's so good.
Point.
He's so good.
Come
Talk
on.
about like lucky. He's so incredibly talented, as you know. So, and for years, people have come to us asking if Cameron would like help them with their brands, whatever. And of course, he always says no, because he's so busy with DryBar. So long story short, we were living in in Orange County for a couple of years because that's where our corporate office is in Irvine. And I didn't love it there. And I wanted to move back to LA. And we were like, our business was kind of really taking off here. So I wanted to get back here. So we moved back to LA, and it was a little bit of a like moving the like creative and marketing. And it was a little hairy there for a minute. But anyways, long story short, Cameron has actually broken off from DryBar. He still does all of DryBar creative, but he's got his own agency. So which is called CWA. But we haven't like, he's like, I don't have a website yet. We don't, he's
babe, don't tell anyone.
Yeah, I know. Well, the reason that, I haven't like, we haven't put anything out there because he's not 100% set up to take on other clients, although he is taking on other clients. And there are some other things that we have in the works that I really can't talk about. So there's just, and for creatives, like they get really like stale and bored of working on the same thing over and over again. So that was also part of the catalyst for starting an agency where the creative team could work on other projects, and they're all better for it. When you're working on multiple projects, like there's just more creativity happening. So that's kind of where we're at now. So and meanwhile, our like corporate office is down in Irvine, and then I'm here. So it's just kind of an interesting time as we've broken off a little bit. So. But it's so fun, and and I'm in Irvine all the time still. But I have an office in now CWA, so it's a neat new little phase and chapter for us.
Oh, I love that. I'm sure it gives him like his own thing too.
It does, and I think he was like ready for that. Creatively and personally, I think it was like the right time for him to like start this new endeavor. So, but not to worry, everybody. He still does DryBar exclusively. He's still in charge of all DryBar creative.
Yeah. Well, did you have any input? Like, what were the conversations for branding like? Like, do you think you would have been as successful if your branding wasn't so on point?
No, I think that I feel very strongly that there's a lot of different things that together have made us so successful. And even though what's been really satisfying for Cameron, never having been like an entrepreneur, his parents worked for other people. So there's just no entrepreneurship in his family. He didn't know any of it at all. My parents had their own business. So Michael and I were like, it was like, we're just like, it's in our blood. So for Cameron, it was really very gratifying for him to be, not being told like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, which normally clients, when you're working for, and there's a client, they're like, I don't like this, or can you make this font bigger? And he just wants to be like, no, that's a bad idea, but you kind of have to do what the client does. And there's that whole thing. So for DryBar, it was really amazing and such a like fun thing to watch for him to just be like, I'm totally calling the shots here. Nobody can tell me no.
Wow.
That being said, he would always bounce things off me and Michael, and Michael and him actually have such a great relationship. And Michael has a marketing background too. So they're actually a really great team. And we all always talk about things. Like when we were, our architect, Josh Heitler, who's out of New York, when we told him we wanted the shops to feel like, I always wanted it to feel like a boudoir, like white and pretty and clean, but we wanted a pop of color. So we all talked about all these different colors, and obviously ultimately all felt like yellow was the thing. So many of the decisions were made at a group level, but Cameron,
not pink.
Yeah. What's that?
I'm surprised not pink.
Well, very purposely not pink, because it just felt like
too cliche.
Yeah, like it had been done.
Cheapened,
And it also is like, how much time can you spend in a space that's like pink?
Oh.
Yeah, that's so
I
true.
mean, granted, DryBar yellow, it's pops of yellow, like the whole shop isn't yellow.
Right.
But yellow just to me felt like something nobody was doing and felt very bright and happy. And one of Cameron's kind of the research and the way he kind of comes out with things. When we were starting DryBar, he looked at all the other hair brands out there just to see like what do most people do, which is very similar. It was like dark and gray and black and shadow and smoky and
so true.
Which I think it's evolved since then. But that was really it's like the Redken and the like
Orbay is black.
Yeah.
Bumble's kind of bright.
They're bright. And now it's like there's great brands out there like R & Co. And it's definitely changed. The landscape has changed. But 10 years ago it wasn't. And so he always wanted the brand to feel like happy and sunny and bright. And so that's kind of how it came. But he's ultimately like the final decision maker when it comes to branding. But it was all very collaborative, and it still is.
We interrupt this episode to bring you a word from our sponsor.
Fabletics. Fabletics is your one-stop shop for really cute, affordable, and actually it fits so well. Athletic wear for yoga, running, gym gear, anything you want, shoes, accessories. I love it.
Yeah,
so
I'm wearing a
much.
Fabletics dress right now.
It's so cute.
It's fucking cute as shit. I'm wearing this dress right now. It's kind of like a mesh white, and it's so soft, so comfortable. It's not really workout, but I've been wearing it all day, and it's so comfortable.
Yeah, they have like what you're wearing is athleisure. You can just
Yeah.
wear it whenever. And I worked out this morning and I got, it's really cute, the Faye 2-piece outfit. So it's this beautiful kind of like dusted lilac color and this really cute sports bra with this mesh detail. And it's kind of like this, it's kind of sexy, but without it being like, oh God.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
It's like made with the woman in mind. It fits so well. And I'm kind of a bitch about my fit. And this brand really takes the time to fit all bodies. So
and it's high quality too. So I
Yeah.
like that it's affordable. You can get, tons of different styles. They release new styles every month. So not only does it fit well, like Lindsay was talking about, but it's also really affordable. So that's what I really like about everything that I get from there is that it's very, very affordable. So it's like a one-stop shop for affordable gym wear that you want to have also be on trend.
So for our listeners, you can get 2 leggings for $24 when you sign up for the VIP membership. And what's great is that you can cancel or skip a month at any time. There's no commitment to purchase monthly. So fabletics.com/almost30, sign up for the VIP membership and you'll get 2 leggings for $24, which is a $99 value. Let us know what you get. If you're wondering what we got in our order, please join the secret Facebook group. We'll talk all about it. This episode is also brought to you by
Robinhood. So guys, I'm so excited about this partner. It makes me feel like a true adult. A few years ago, Justin was like, you have to check out this app. It's called Robinhood. And I was like, he never usually says that. So I was interested. So I've actually been using Robinhood for a few years now. And Robinhood is an investing app. So it lets you buy and sell stocks, ETFs, options, and crypto as well, commission free. So that's what's really special and important about them is that it's commission free, whereas brokerage firms could do $10 for every trade or various amounts, basically taking money from you when you want to be making money. So a few years ago when I got the app, I started to buy some random stocks that I just got pulled to or companies that I was interested in. And now I have my stocks and I'm playing the market on my Robinhood app. So
playing the market.
I know I'm playing the market. I'm really rich. So it makes it really easy. And it really just, the app is so easy to use. There's a great user experience. So if anyone wants to get into investing and doesn't know where to start, this is a great place.
Yeah. And I don't know a lot about this space. So this app is perfect. It's super user friendly for those that are just starting out, buying and trading stocks. And they let you view stock collections. So you can, there's like categories. So entertainment, social media, like for female CEOs, like, it's really interesting how they do it and makes it very digestible and fun to do. So for our listeners, Robinhood is giving a free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help build your portfolio. Sign up at almost30.robinhood.com. That's almost30.robinhood.com. We're just really excited to share this tool with you. So join the secret Facebook group. Let us know what you're trading, what you're buying, and if you like it.
We're already talking about investing in the group. So this is going to be a perfect place. And this is basically the answer to finding a new way to learn by doing and to really start get our female finances in order.
Amen.
What advice would you give for an entrepreneur or someone that's starting a business in regards to branding?
Well, I think it's I think most people think they're really good at branding. Honestly, it's like it's pretty shocking to me how bad branding is in a lot of places. Let's just leave it at that, And I think that, and then you see places that it's like unbelievable, like Sprinkles Cupcakes. That's a great example.
That's a good one.
I'm trying to think of like Salt and Straw. Like I think they do a good job. don't know why I'm going to all desserts, but there's a lot
I
of
like this.
and there's a lot of like places that do a great job, and it's like the first thing you notice. When you walk into a place and it's well branded, you're like, I'm in. You immediately like love and have like a kinship.
You
with
trust
the brand.
it,
And you trust it. You're like
you're
somebody
taken care of,
right? Somebody thought of these details.
Someone thought of
which,
this.
to your point, makes you feel
Thoughtful.
better about everything else that's going to happen to you in this place. And that's something that frankly, a lot of businesses miss, which is why I've always wanted Cameron to go out on his own, because I think there's so much opportunity. And he's been inundated, which is great. So to answer your question, I think that like be really like honest with yourself and don't assume that you can just, having no background and no experience. And like, I think there's some people who are just like naturally creative. Like, I don't know if you guys ever get over to Culver City, but one of my best friends owns Midland. Have you ever been to that shop?
Oh no, not yet.
It's on Washington, and it's this really cute store. And she is this girl, Paige Appel. She's my best friend. She's been forever, and she decorated my house. She has like a naturally great aesthetic, and her store is so super cute, and you fall in love the second you walk in. So she's got that down. But she's rare, like I didn't. Like I couldn't have like branded DryBar the way it was. I mean, in my case, like Cameron was our secret weapon. So I think recognizing, which is like my overall advice for everybody ever in starting a business, is like recognize what you're good at and what you know and what you don't. And I think having that sensibility for great branding, as long as you have it, great. As long as somebody in your team has like a good sense of that, because it's not just like being able to like you're part like this place. It's so cute, but then it's like, how do you carry that consistently through a business from everything from like the emails that you send and the signs that you put up and the way the bathroom looks and like the bags and like that brand consistency across the board is so incredibly important, because you may be able to like decorate your apartment cute, but like, can you turn that into a business that every touch point for a customer has that piece of branding, which again, shit I didn't understand 8 years ago that now is very crystal clear to me. So, being open to having that, real conversation, with yourself or your partners of, getting somebody to make sure that you're like on point.
Those moments when you're like, fuck, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
Like
there's been a lot of those.
Right. But what is your nature? Is it to be like, okay, let me learn, or does it paralyze you? Like how did you get through that?
I think it's like a little bit of both. I feel like in the early days when we were starting DryBar and I was having to deal with like everything, like figuring out what kind of licensing we needed, because we were a hair salon, but we weren't really a hair salon. So then I had to spend like hours and hours on the phone with the cosmetology board. And then I had to figure out how to like read all the contracts and the things that we needed. And some of it I just like hunkered down and figured out. And some of it I was like, a very good friend of ours was as a lawyer. And I was like, can you, like a real estate lawyer is like, can you decipher what the fuck this means? Because I don't understand it, And I think that that's another good lesson, is like leaning on people and friends, family, people to help you navigate some of the waters of things that you don't, I mean, there's some things that I also used to have to do payroll when we first opened, which everybody should be happy I'm not doing payroll anymore. But to your point, I figured it out. Like we had to get people paid. And when I would also ask for help and when I needed it, that's also the beauty of having two business partners, that we can all kind of help each other and bounce things off. But I would ask, I was never shy and bashful about that. I would ask anybody who was willing to help and like lend a hand or give me advice or say, you know what, you should try this or talk to this person. They can probably help you with that. It was like trying to find like towel vendors out of the blue. I mean, how do you know? I mean,
and the little things you don't.
It's so many little things.
and
I literally, it's like kind of a long-standing joke now, because when I was like trying to get everything ready for the store, and I was like, well, we need towels. We're washing hair. Where do we get towels? And so I like looked online and like found the towel company and ended up like signing this contract, which a year later, my brother realized we were paying way too much for towels, in ratio to what we were doing and whatever. And so he tried to break the contract, and they were like, oh, your sister signed this contract that if you break it, it's like $30,000. And we were like, what? And that was like my lesson in like, don't ever sign anything without a lawyer reading it. But just like, these are things that like, you figure like they tell you, we're going to give you 1,000 towels a week or whatever it was. And here's how much it costs. And I was like, okay, and it's like, there's a million little stories like that of things that like it's like, and then before we'd launched our own product line when we brought in blow dryers, like they weren't lasting very long. Our blow dryers were dying left and right, which was like, shit, man, that's another really high cost.
Wow.
Which they would just die. And like I remember I used to like try to work a deal with the vendor to get them to like repair them for free because no other blow dryer had to stand up to like what ours did. We were open 12 hours a day and they were pretty much running 12 hours a day, which is really why we ended up making our own, because we needed something more powerful that would last longer and be lightweight enough for our stylists and all of that. So it's like, I could go on and on. I mean, there's so many examples of things that you just don't know that you don't know, and you figure out as you go and hope for the best. And I think as an entrepreneur, you have to just kind of be up for that challenge and not like get freaked out. And then also know that like if it's your own business, like you have to be the one that says, just figures something out. I feel like I remember so much in the early days just being like, people coming to me with problems all the time and being like, I don't know, but never saying that, but just being like, well, somebody has to make a decision. It may be the wrong one, but I got to make one because nobody else is going to. And so that's, kind of an empowering exercise when you're running your own business, that you just do that. And you have to cut yourself some slack and realize like, I may have made the wrong decision here, but I will learn from it,
What's a decision that you made that was like a mess up?
Well, definitely the towels.
Yeah,
that's
a good lesson for us.
That's
Contracts.
Yeah, contracts are tricky, and now it's like annoying because we spend a lot of money on lawyers, but you have to protect yourself. And because I get asked, when I'm doing things all the time, people want me to sign something. I'm like, oh no, I'm like, because like it's such like that stuff is such like lawyer mumbo jumbo. But somebody needs to read it, make sure they're not like, so by the way. If you curse on the air,
firstborn.
Yeah. It's that you still know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So many. I don't even know if they're brands really, because they don't feel like chains quite like yours at all. But when people copy your concept, like what was that like? Did you just not look blinders on, or?
Well, in the beginning, I remember like the first one because it was right down the street from our first store, and the woman who opened it wanted us to. Such
a bitch.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. She wanted to open, which she did at the Country Mart down the street. It's no longer there, but a makeup and blowout concept. Which I was like, I don't want anything to do with makeup.
Yeah.
I was like, people are not going to get their makeup done the way they get blowouts. Like it doesn't last. You wash it out at the end of the day. Like, meh. Like sure there should be an option, but I was like, I don't want to be in that business. And she wanted us to partner with her, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And I was like, I don't want anybody messing up what we have here. Mm-hmm. So we didn't. And she ended up opening herself, and it was like, whatever. I don't need to get into it, but I was really freaked out about it. And I remember I used to drive by it all the time.
Oh my God. I love that.
Just to see, I was like, are there people in there? And
he has like a mustache on and glasses.
Literally.
Like what?
I totally felt like that. And so, and I mean, that was a little more dramatic because it was like the first copycat. And I, even today, I mean, I would always like, if you came into a DryBar and you were asking me, like the questions you're asking me now, I would tell anybody. I would talk to anybody. I was so excited and happy about what we had done. And I even years later got a letter from a woman who had opened a total copycat in another city and was like, I just wanted to tell, like, basically like, I don't know what the point of that is. I want to apologize and say that like, you were so gracious and talked to me for so long about your business. I've actually opened my own, and I just it was like a clearing conscious kind of, it was so weird. I still have that letter, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this, because I mean, I think that like she was well-intentioned by sending me this letter, but it was kind of like a moment where I realized like maybe I need to like not tell everybody everything about my business. But
we've been learning that too.
Yeah.
Feel that.
But I mean, but again, I think we felt very like closed lip about like things that we would say. But then what we realized was like even things that we would say in interviews or whatever, like nobody really got it, and I do feel like there is this like secret sauce that we have that it's just not easily duplicatable. I mean, between the experience that my brother brings, what my husband brings, what I bring, like I have 20 years in this business. I know blowouts I feel like I can say better than anybody, you know, and I don't claim to be like the best hairdresser that ever lived, but when it comes to blowout and what I know lasts and works and techniques and all of that stuff, like I've been honing that muscle for a very long time. And now running DryBar, you know, we beg for feedback. I mean, you guys know after you leave, we send you an email, like tell us the good, the bad, and the ugly. We really want to hear it. So, you know, now we've spent almost 10 years like compiling all of that data and information to make sure we're doing it right. So there are a lot of competitors that keep popping up. And in some ways, I feel like, and I really do feel this way, that the copycats, especially in cities that we're not in, has raised the awareness of the category. Because like I was explaining before, there was a lot of women who didn't even know what a blowout was, never had a blowout, like kind of could understand because when they would get their hair cut, like that day, their hair looked better than it ever normally does. So they kind of got it. So the whole category has been lifted, and you know there's a lot of blow dry bars all over. The part of it that makes me crazy is when they really like copy us. Like we have people who are like, you know, open a blow dry bar and they call it like Sally's Dry Bar. I'm like, you can't use dry bar, but it's almost like become like Kleenex tissues. It's like you just like, you're like, give me a Kleenex.
Yeah.
It's not an act. Kleenex is the brand, you know?
You're like, I'm going to take an Uber.
Yeah, exactly. And you could be taking other things. So it's been, that part's been frustrating. And we've had to like spend a boatload of money in legal fees to like shut people down who've done that. So that's like the flip side of it. That's frustrating. But, you know, I think we're way ahead of the pack where we have 105 locations. And again, I do feel very, you know, strongly that there is just something that we do that is hard to duplicate.
Yeah. I feel the same about us.
Yeah.
Because it's like at the beginning when we would talk to people that would be like, oh, we want to start a podcast. And we would tell them everything. And then you were like, oh, I don't know if that doesn't feel good, you know, to do that. Because you maybe have a little bit of insecurity about the path.
Yeah.
But now I don't really care because I know it's like an X factor that we have.
Totally.
That really is like a differentiator.
How many years have you guys had this?
2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
know?
Yeah.
It's like, whatever. Yeah. I feel that.
In terms of brand consistency, you were talking about, how do you communicate consistency to the people that work for you? I think, you know, to have that expectation, and as you grow to 105 plus store, you know, salons now, I mean, it overwhelms me. I can't breathe just thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people to
Well, I mean, that's where
manage.
it gets really important to bring in a great, you know, management and leadership team.
Sure.
And I think it was like around 11 stores. My brother was like, I think we need to bring in somebody who has experience like running an organization with this kind of scale. And we did. We started to bring people in. Like we brought in a woman who had run Pinkberries, and you know, people who understood like scale and HR and like putting systems in place, because we just were winging it and bootstrapping it. So it was hard. I mean, from a culture standpoint, you know, I think DryBar has been this great thing for this like bridge for stylists. You know, like I mentioned before, you know, when I came out of beauty school, I was like, and most people, stylists experience, when you come out of beauty school, you have to be an assistant for 2 years somewhere. You slowly get fed clients, and it just takes forever to build up your book. You know, DryBar is like another option, another avenue for stylists to go, where they are, you know, getting comfortable being on the floor. We have a very robust training program in place. So and I've always said that like we can take good stylists and make them great. And we can't always take stylists right out of beauty school who don't have any experience, but you know, it's like probably 50-50. And so we've, you know, created this other place for stylists to like work and get really comfortable. And what ends up happening all the time, which we are, you know, more than happy to support, is stylists develop a relationship with clients that come in. And even though, you know, DryBar is set up so that you're going in and seeing whoever, inevitably there's always clients who like the stylist they like, and they seek those stylists out. And so they build a rapport, and there's a trust. So then it becomes a lead generator. Like the stylists will be like, oh, you know, I'm cutting hair over at the salon down the street. You should come and see me. And so it does become a lead generator for them. And we've had stylists who've like left us because they got so busy at their cut and color salon. And then when things get slow, they're like, can I come pick up some shifts at DryBar? So we've created this other avenue again for stylists to go down, which I think has really contributed to the culture. And the fact that like, there's nothing quite like DryBar. I mean, you work hard in DryBar. And I think that sometimes like, it's an interesting, the millennial, I love them, but there's also this like, it's like, I think, and I don't even know if it's necessarily millennial or just the fact that like, if you've never had to be someone's assistant and you've never worked in like a really busy salon where like you're lucky if you take a bite of a sandwich all day, which is what my experience was when I came out of beauty school and I was an assistant for like years and I worked my ass off and I never complained about like eating lunch or breaks and all the stuff that, is like real now. And I'm not saying people shouldn't get breaks because everybody should get breaks, but it's just a different world in that way. And so, I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's like DryBar isn't the place for every stylist because you are doing client after client after client after client. Yeah. And that's just a pace. Whereas like if you're working in a full service salon, you're doing color, it's sitting, you can maybe take a break or you have 4 assistants who are helping you apply color or whatever the case may be. When you're working in DryBar, like it's just you wash your own client, and not every stylist, and it's okay, but not every stylist is like down for that. They don't want to be in that kind of environment, which we've had stylists who've like, badmouthed us and complained and whatever because how hard they're working, and they are working hard, like make no mistake, but that's the job. And some people thrive on it and love it. I mean, we have 3,000 stylists, so I think there's enough people out there that like it. But it is a really hard job. And it's like, you have to kind of sign up for that, in like my heyday, that's what I was doing and I was fine with it. So, so for the stylists that like love it, it is, you really feel part of something and they love that they can make women feel really good. And, we have this whole heart and soul, like all of our values, our 10 core values and we have these cards that you can like write a value that you saw in somebody else and put it up on the back wall. And, we always have food and snacks for the stylist. And we do as much as we can do to like make them feel good while they're there, like having clean break rooms and having snacks for the stylist and giving them really flexible shifts. Like they don't have to work an 8-hour shift or even a 6 or, there's a lot of flexibility. So I think that has made, it a fun work environment, but it's also a lot of work. So, like everything in life.
We interrupt this episode to bring you a word from our sponsor, BioClarity. We're still using it. It works. So the Clear Skin Routine and the Essentials Routine are the 2 routines that you can choose from. So the Clear Skin Routine is what I'm using. I'm still experiencing some
such a
breakouts.
classic.
I mean, it's a classic and it works. The cleanse, the treat, and the restore. The treat is something I put on almost like a spot treatment, but it doesn't make your skin red or flaky, anything like that. And the Essentials Routine, cleanse, restore, and the hydrate. The hydrate is really good.
Yeah, I always like it really after the gym. So it's really nice for spring and summertime because it's just really, really light. So that's one of my favorites. But they also have 2 masks. So I know masks are huge. Everyone's loving masks right now. And I am obsessed with their Glow Getter mask. It has coconut, it has bergamot, it has sandalwood, and it really just helps to detoxify your skin and doesn't dry your skin out. So it's been one of my favorites. Having a mask on hand from BioClarity has been a game changer.
And it's 100% vegan. Plus, it's gluten-free and cruelty-free, and it's delivered straight to your door every month. So for our listeners, they will get their first month for 50% off a routine plus free shipping. And it comes with a 100% risk-free money-back guarantee. So at checkout, you need to enter almost 30, ALMOST30 at bioclarity.com. That's bioclarity.com. Enter our code almost 30 at checkout for 50% off a routine. This episode is also brought to you by Maxi Climber.
So I was in LA. There's this new workout that everyone's talking about, and it's basically a bunch of maxi climbers in a room. And I went with Aubrey.
The workout is so effective in such a short amount of time.
30 minutes.
It's shocking.
I've never experienced that, to ever do something that was that quick of a workout. So it's really just like, it was like a vertical climber workout. And really it gets your butt because you're like moving your legs up and down, and then you're getting your arms too. So I liked it because it was like moving the armpit fat like right underneath your bra, which is really nice. But now we have something where we can basically do that workout at home, and everyone can do that even if you're not in LA.
Yeah, we've been spending a lot of time at the studio. So we actually have one here as well to kind of fit in just a little bit of movement in between interviews and things like that as well. So whether you're in your home or even your office, this piece of equipment, one is super easy to assemble. It's 90% pre-assembled, which I like to hear because I don't like putting things together.
Same.
So you just attach the little legs and you're done. And it could easily fit underneath your bed or underneath the desk, anything like that. So I love that about it. It saves money and time. So you don't really need a gym membership. This cardio and this strength training is like a full package. And they also have an app, which you can get and track your workouts. There's trainers on the app. There's just a great way to kind of make it a holistic experience. So for our listeners, you can go to maxiclimber.com and enter the code almost30 at checkout to get 15% off your Maxi Climber plus bonus accessories worth over $50. And that includes a waist trainer, fitness mat, and workout armband. So almost 30 is the code at checkout on maxiclimber.com, gets you 15% off plus bonus accessories valued at over $50. You know, this is great for people who want to save time, who want to do a hard, intense, effective workout in a short amount of time, who don't really have the space for a huge piece of equipment in their home. This fits underneath a bed, in a closet. It's so easy, so light. I'm pumped. I'm pumped at the possibilities here, guys. So let us know if you get the Maxi Climber and how you like it. Send us videos, tag us. We want to know all the things.
How do you do you and your husband, like, how do you guys turn it off? Like,
That's a good question.
do you ever do that?
Yes and no. I think as over time, we've gotten better at that. And the fact that we have so many great people, we have a professional CEO, we have, a head of retail, a head of marketing, and then they have their teams. And so many of like the little things that we used to have to do, we have somebody else doing. But, I think that's like the double-edged sword of owning your own business. Like you never 100% shut it off. And it gets for us at this point, it's gotten a little bit easier, but like I still get emails all the time from clients, like whether, good and bad. Sometimes they're upset and want to tell me about something. And, and I still, I still get a lot of those and still have to make sure that they're getting taken care of. And people still reach out to me like on Instagram and DMs and which I love because then I get to see it all. And I don't ever want to be shielded, which is really tends to be a little bit of the tendency of like a team who doesn't want like the founder to be upset because
I want to be shielded.
Yeah.
I was thinking the other day, I was like, I can't wait to have a shield.
Yeah.
I literally am going to tell my team, don't tell me anything bad.
But the problem with that is that, it's like you care so much. And so when you hear that I'm a big believer where there's smoke, there's fire. So when I hear that like something's going on with even just one client, I'm like, if that woman was treated badly by somebody in our shop, there's chances are that whoever treated her badly is probably treating other people badly too. And if nobody does anything about it, that's those are like, for me, I'm like, oh my God, the sky is falling. And if we don't fix this, our business is over.
Yes.
But somebody needs to be that person that's like, this, we have to fix this, which I am that person and drive everybody crazy.
Did you read every email?
I honestly don't anymore because it's just like the VAT. I mean, we're doing 1.2 million blowouts a year. So it's virtually impossible.
Wow.
But a lot of things do bubble up to me. And, I think there's some people who are craftier than others. And I get it because I'm like that too. Like, people find my email and they email me and they're like, listen, or just old clients. I've been a customer a long time, but I got to tell you, I noticed this in, whatever store. And I thought as a business owner, if it was my business, I'd want to know. So, I take those very seriously. Yeah. But we do have a really expansive customer service team too that's dealing with all of that stuff, and they do a really good job. I mean, our overall rating. And this was funny because we did a survey maybe a year or so ago when I was really freaking out because I was about something, and we did a survey. And surveys are only so good, and you really only capture a small percentage. But our standard level is 99.7 or something so insanely good, knock on wood. But keep in mind with 1.2 million clients or blowouts, that 0.3% is still thousands and thousands of people. Yeah. So in my mind, I'm like, thousands and thousands of people is still a lot, you guys, but it's a hard, and then there's some days where I'm like, it's never going to be perfect. Yeah. But then there,
and some people just love to find stuff that's wrong.
Honestly,
that's very true.
They came in with an agenda.
Yeah.
To be
something's going to go wrong no matter what.
Yeah, 100%.
One of the last questions for me, but I think as an entrepreneur, it's hard to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's happened later for you and you're really able to kind of take the time and do that. But what would you suggest for our listeners who are entrepreneurs and who are struggling to find the time to take care of themselves? How do you find the time and what do you do?
Well, I think that's very true because I feel like the first couple of years, I was like, I got to be in the office by 9:00 and like, I have so much to do and whatever. So I wouldn't like work out as much as I'd like to. And I just felt like I had to be, and I, somewhere along the line, I was like, you know what? Like, I don't feel good about my body. I don't feel good about myself. Like I have got to find the time. And for me, it was like hard to do it after work because I wanted to get home for my kids. So like, I wasn't getting home till like 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night. That only gave me a really small window with my kids. So I wasn't going to go work out then, not to mention I was tired. But that was something that I felt like was really missing. And it really did take me a couple of years to say, you know what? I'm going to come in the office at like 10 or 11 every day because I'm going to go work out in the morning and then I'm going to shower and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to not take meetings until 10 or 10:30. Not every day, but like I'm going to give myself a couple days a week or maybe even 3 days a week where like that's just what I do. And everyone has to just kind of be okay with that, and as an entrepreneur, I mean, especially, in my case, and there's a lot of other people, like, you need to be respectful of everybody's time, but that's one of the beauties of being an entrepreneur. It's like you're your own boss. You make your own rules. That's one of the greatest things about being an entrepreneur is like you figure out what works for you, because, for me, it's like I could take off like an hour or two in the morning because I was going to work out and whatever, and then have my day, be with my kids, get my kids to bed. And then I would get back like on my computer and deal with the rest of the stuff that I had to deal with. And that to me felt better than just being at the office at 9. And, and so I think you just have to find your own way and not like shame yourself about it. You have to, I think that my rationale was like, I'm like a better, happier person if I'm working out in the morning versus this like cranky feeling like I'm getting bitter person that nobody wants around,
Yeah. My last question, are you spiritual at all?
Not really, but I feel like, I think it's like in me, like I think that there's, I grew up very non-religious. So I don't, and ironically, my husband grew up Mormon and I'm Jewish, but it was, and he kind of left the church, which is, a whole other interesting, really, really interesting story.
Make a pod about that.
I know. So I think that like on some level, I feel like I probably am. I don't think I've like explored it, Are you?
Yeah. And it's just interesting, like your intuition, you know what I mean? Like you must be like spiritual, but in like a,
well, I'm very much like, and I don't know if this is considered spiritual or not. I feel like I'm very like, everything will work out. Yeah. Like everything happens for a reason, which is funny.
Well, kind of has been your life.
Yeah. And my brother is so like, oh my God, like rolls his eyes when I say stuff like that. He's like, you make
guys always roll their eyes.
I know. What's the deal?
Well, he's like, you make your own destiny happen. And I'm like, yeah, it'll work out. Like I've always been that person. And it's always been this kind of joke in my family that like everything just always works out for Alli. And I'm like, first of all, that's not true. Second of all, like I'm just like a big believer. It's just been this like kind of guiding light for me that like whatever's meant to be will be is like cheesy as that sounds. Like I've always really believed that like things work out the way they're supposed to. And I always felt that way about DryBar. Like if I was not really, I was nervous and had nerves about opening DryBar, but I always felt like if it didn't work out, no one was going to die. We'd all get jobs. Like we'd survive. We'd be fine, And so I think that's always been my like, and sometimes it's harder to see, I think, when you're in a tough situation or whatever. But yeah, I think that's like my kind of overall philosophy.
Could you imagine your life now?
God, no.
Isn't that crazy?
So crazy. And it's funny because I think as a kid, I was so like, what am I going to do? And I didn't know what I really wanted. And I just kind of stumbled into this life that I love so much. I mean, I really do. I love my family and my kids and the fact that I get to work with my brother and like all the crazy opportunities DryBar has given me. Like I feel very, very lucky, but I also feel like I'm like very generous. I'm a good person. I promote other people. Like I'm such a giver that I feel like, it's, I deserve good things, but I think I'm a very big, like, you have to like, you reap what you sow and, everything comes back to you and all of that stuff. So I think I kind of live by that philosophy.
Yeah, I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who does your blowout?
Yeah, do you
Who
have like
has the coveted job?
No,
Do they get so nervous?
Or do you
They
do like
do.
do they
wait,
like puke on themselves?
Have you ever like gone in as like a secret shopper and like
yeah.
anyone not known who you were?
Undercover CEO.
Undercover boss.
you know, I've definitely walked into stores where stylists don't realize who I am at first.
And you're like, do you even know?
Which more is annoying because I want them to know like the culture of the company. That's rather than like the ego about it. Yeah. But it's definitely shifted over the years, especially since like my magazine cover and all of that.
Yeah.
Then it's like, you can't not know who I am. The magazine is all over the shop.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so there is that like, there are certainly those nerves, which honestly, you know, everyone in my company always jokes around with me because I'm like, what? It's so annoying to me that they get nervous. Why do they get nervous? And they're like, Alli, like you don't realize. I'm like, I don't realize what? Like, I'm sure there's some really tough clients. Like, I'm just think of me as a tough client. And it's just kind of this like funny thing that we have. But I go in different shops all the time and get blowouts from different people all the time. And
cool.
I have like some favorites here and there, but I really try to like go to as many stylists as I can. And you know.
Julie and Elizabeth would do that with SoulCycle too.
I was wondering that, yeah.
Like they would go to anyone and everyone, which was always because I guess I would expect them to go to like Angela or like Stacy or something all the time.
Well,
but they're like,
and I'm sure with SoulCycle, if I remember correctly, there's no real like hierarchy with this. I mean, there is a little.
It's like a social. Like I think instructors become popular and they just kind of gravitate,
but like on their own.
Yeah.
So like that's the thing. Like I've always been very against us. And some of our management here and there has tried to do this where it's like, there's like a senior stylist or a junior stylist. I'm like, no, nobody gets that kind of status. There's no hierarchy here. You know, it's like, but that because the other problem with that, which I'm sure is true of SoulCycle instructors, is like who you love as a stylist may not be who you love as a stylist. You know, it's such a subjective thing. Hair, it's like, you know, because there's clients that, you know, absolutely are obsessed. And I have been in the stores before where I saw like a client come up to the front desk and I was like, oh boy, like I did not think her hair looked how I wanted it to look. But then, so I would like nudge and coach like the bartender, like, mate, how was everything? Do you love your hair? And like the woman's ecstatic. Like it's exactly what she wanted. So I'm like, oh my God, okay.
They're like these like tight little ringlets.
Yeah.
And you're
like, oh God.
Yeah.
But you know, what's funny is like, there's usually like a reason for it. Like there's so many women who come in and I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but they have really straight hair. So they leave with their hair so super curly. It doesn't look super
falls,
cute because it's going to fall. You know, or there's a million things like that. Like clients just, you know, we're all very set in our ways and there's clients who just like a certain thing about their hair, which that was like a little bit of a learning for me. And so I would be like, okay. And honestly, I don't care. I don't have any judgment. I'm just like looking at it through my lens of what I think is what I like, but that's could be different than what she likes. And I've done it a million times and like the bartender or whoever will come back to me like, no, she's so happy. She like tipped her well. She was ecstatic. And I'm like, okay, great. Like, that's one less thing for me to worry about. So, you know, so there can't be that like, it's just so personal and subjective. I mean, stylists don't get on the floor at DryBar unless they, you know, go through a bunch of, you know, making sure they can do like a handful of things. So, you know, I mean, of course, like we're not always perfect, but we sure try.
Wow. What are you struggling with now?
I think that probably the biggest thing is more of like a personal struggle with like my kids getting older. I have a 13-year-old son who is like bigger than me. He picks me up when he hugs me now. And he was like my baby. I'm like, just yesterday, he was like, I was like nursing him, you know? So, and he's going into 8th grade and
8th grade's so hard.
And so I'm like 5 more, well, yes, for him, but for me, I'm like 5 more years. That's all I have with you, you know? Cause then it gets really scary thinking about like, he's going to move out. And like, you know how you were when you got out of high school and you're like, see ya, you know, and there's already that in him. Like he's like ambitious and I know I just can see it. Like he's just gonna, you know, and then I was like, oh my God, it's gonna be so weird when he doesn't like live here anymore. Like, whoa, you know? So I think it just gives me such a pit in my stomach when I think about like that being only 5 years away, you know, because when you have a baby, you just feel like, you have 18 years in front of you, you know? And then all of a
Literally.
sudden you're like, oh my God. My brother Michael just had a baby who's like 2 weeks old.
Oh, wow.
So it's really fun to like hold a baby again. And I was like, we were kind of going back and forth on wanting to have another one and wanting a girl because I have 2 boys. And she's so cute and like delicious. But I'm like, yeah, I don't think I want to have another baby. I think I'm good with giving this one back, you know, a couple hours. And then I'm like,
100%.
bye, you guys have fun.
Yeah. See ya.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That is so precious.
What would you tell, last question, what would you tell your younger self? Maybe that self that was kind of not knowing what she wanted to do, early 20s, late teens?
I think I remember when I was like, I had gotten out of doing hair, which because I felt like I wasn't 100% fulfilled. And I was like working in New York City. I was working in PR.
As you do.
As one does in New York. And I was like, which was a really great experience that I think informed a lot for me in terms of like learning how to like write a professional email and how to write in general. Because I used to have to write press releases and things like that. But I don't think I had the confidence that I have now. And I think I would tell my younger self to like speak up more, speak your mind more, because I think as I've gotten older, I've learned that like I am smart and I know what I'm talking about. And I think that it takes a little while to like, you know, get comfortable flexing that muscle of like not being afraid to say something stupid, which, you know, everybody says something stupid every once in a while, but just having that confidence that I have now, I wish I had like in my 20s and 30s.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, who has that?
Unless
Yeah.
that's your conditioning,
Kristen
like as a
Cavallari.
young kid to just be like, fuck it.
Yeah, literally.
But
Well, I
And then
think
you
it's
wouldn't
like,
be
you know,
relatable.
being like coming out of your shell a little bit more. Like, I think I just could have done, looking back in situations and times, like I should have, you know, when I was like, could have spoken up about something that I didn't, you know? And
Yeah.
you're right. I think it is just who you are in your 20s. But, you know, I think that we live in this really amazing time of like all these women doing great things. And I think when you think back about, you know, we had Sarah Michelle Gellar on our podcast as our first one. And she was talking about, I mean, obviously for her company, Foodsters, you know, rivals like Betty Crocker and these companies that have like these box things. And she was saying, and she said on our podcast that like, you know, when you think back to like the 20s, I guess, when like women didn't talk about their days and like they had their husband's slippers. I mean, I was like, oh my God.
I know.
Like, can you, I mean, none of us can imagine growing up in a world like that. But I think it's like, you know, small, slow shifts as we, you know, for the girls growing up now, like I can't think of role models when I was like, even in my teens or 20s, you know, I think there was like,
It was like
fashion-
Michelle Kwan.
maybe. And then like,
Literally.
there was like fashion designers. Like I worked for Nicole Miller a brief stint when I lived in New York, but there weren't like powerful businesswomen the way there are now. So I think the fact that these women exist, you know, that it gives girls like this, like I can do it too.
yes.
Mentality and attitude, which I think is so badass and awesome. And I'm happy to be a
You
part
are
of that.
a role model. That's amazing. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
you
having
so
me, you guys.
much. We love hanging with you.
Yeah, so fun.
Now that we're done,
Best.
it means air conditioning
Yeah.
can be on.
That's the only problem with podcasts.
I
They
know,
go
we
so-
like to sweat out our
I know.
guests.
Yeah, literally. We just wait until we see beads of sweat and then we're like, I guess we should end.
It happens on ours too. We're like in a hot box here.
So
Yeah, it's like go until.
Well, thank you so much for our listeners. If you have not, what I love about DryBar, also it's everywhere. So when
Yeah.
you're traveling, it's just it's kind of like we were literally on tour and Chris and I were like, where's the DryBar?
Yeah, I was like,
And
I
it was
just
like,
didn't want to do
there's
my
like 5
hair.
in
Yeah.
the radius of where we were.
Oh,
We're
that's
like,
amazing.
great.
And I walked past one. I was like,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yay.
It's a little like piece of home almost.
Yeah.
You know, like it just makes you feel like,
Yeah.
taken care of.
Yep.
So if you haven't been,
good.
definitely go and check out Alli's new podcast. We're honored to kind of
Thank
be
you.
in that space too. It's just a really good opportunity to like
Yeah.
speak your truth and like, you know, your story and people that you bring on the podcast, you know,
Yeah.
it's important to share.
Well, it's been fun for me with Raising the Bar, we're talking to entrepreneurs like Sarah Michelle Gellar and like Curtis Stone and people who like have made it and they're very
Yes.
successful. But then we're talking to people that you've never heard of and, you know, and just hearing everybody's like
story.
stories and philosophies. And like, sometimes we're like, Oh,
Mhm.
never thought of that. You know,
Love
like
that.
that's really good advice.
Always
And
learning. It's amazing.
always learning, you know, and then imparting what we've learned, you know, with running DryBar. But it's been really fun because you always end up honing in on, or at least we have kind of end up honing in on one thing that they're like
Mhm.
struggling with, and it becomes this like business therapy. So it's
So
neat.
good.
Yeah.
So
So
good.
raising the bar.
The best.
Raising the bar,
Awesome. Subscribe.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much, guys. We will see you next week.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
I ain't pressing, but the pressure make me wanna shower you in diamonds.
Wow. What a fun one. What a cool gal.
She's the coolest.
Love talking about her ring. Her ring is fucking crazy.
All her jewelry.
She's the shit.
Can't wait till I'm real rich and just have a lot of
Same.
jewelry.
Oh, I'm gonna
As she deserves it. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
just can't wait to like.
can't wait to be rich enough to lose my jewelry all the time and not care.
Oh, good one.
Because that's what I do.
Yeah,
I don't-
you would definitely lose.
I know. Justin's like terrified.
How do we secure
How do we do
your
it?
ring?
I don't know, man. Leave it to Peaver.
Why don't you? Can you get it sized to like
Too
a
tight.
little tighter?
Yeah. Maybe my little finger will fall off. Yeah, man. I don't even know. It's
You have skinny
stressful.
fingers. That's why I'm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's stressful.
Well,
I'm a fish.
I feel like you should get a fake one
I think about that probably.
just to have. You know.
Yeah, but I literally think I'm like, dude, I wish I was like cool and confident enough to like just get a fake ring, period.
Mhm.
Yo, who the fuck knows?
I know.
No one knows. I get like a 5-carat fake ring.
Literally, no one would know.
No one would know. Everyone would be like, why is she so rich? How's she so rich?
Oh, she's. But
she
then there
so
would be
rich
a
and
few
such?
bitches who would know the
100%.
cut, clarity, color.
I don't hang out anywhere where anyone would know that shit.
My best friend Matthew Kane
100%.
would know.
I know. God. So would Crystal.
LOL.
All right, y'all. we'll
so
see
much for
yo
listening.
asses on tour. We cannot wait. Facebook group, y'all know about it. Instagram at Almost 30 Podcast. Thanks for sharing. We love when you guys put this in your little stories, and we always make sure to repost it on our page. You the best. We love you. Thank you for being so kind and generous and loving to the other people that connect in Almost 30 Nation. It means so much to them.
Yeah.
You guys have been such a support and light for the others of our community. So thank you for that.
And be sure, you have our full permission, not that you needed it, but
Yeah.
create community within your own community. If you want to create a Secret 30 group, we are going to help you facilitate that soon. We have some big news coming, but, start, before that, book clubs, hike clubs, whatever you want, centered around, connecting with Almost 30 Nation.
Centered around that pussy.
Okay.
Pussy power. All right. Love you guys.
Love you so
Bye.
much. Bye.
Let's get it on. Everybody just calm down.